Laoshi Lawrence McElroy here for Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan. Huh, Water Tiger. Since it's after February 1st of 2022, I can say that this is now the year of the Water Tiger. So maybe it'll be a good year for us. Who knows? Um, so there you go. If you watched much of this series, you know my Chinese is awful, but I will say, Jinan Kui Le. It really should be more Kui Le. I always do the law, which is more or less Happy New Year. A lot of times you hear Gung Hei Fat Choi, or some version thereof, which is fine. You're wishing somebody peace and prosperity, which is something that you do in a new year. But the first one, Jinan Kui Le, is Happy New Year, when spoken properly and not by me. In celebration of the beginning of the year of the tiger, we're going to return to the Tiger Frolics. We have done 3 of the Tiger Frolics thus far in the Five Animal Frolics with Water Tiger School's approach. Tiger walking, tiger fighting, and tiger pouncing. We're going to do tiger stretching, which is a favorite of myself and the students of Water Tiger mostly. Anyway, so that means since we're doing something from the Five Animal Frolics, our warm-up will be advance and retreat from the 9 temple exercises. We do that on purpose. It's one of the few warm-ups since we started these videos back in March of 2020 of doing our best not to repeat any warm-ups. But advance and retreat has a certain advantage for us in going into the animal frolics, which I will, as I said, explain. So there's that. I also want to mention, I know that I have in the past, pointed out that with the recent kitten, I've had to replace the swords there, so they do not have tassels. But you may have noticed in the last couple videos, or the last video, that's a new straight sword. It is the blade of the Water Tiger. It was hand forged for me, commissioned by a student. And there are 6 tigers on the sword and the sheath, representing the 6. Let me backtrack. Representing 6 directional force, which is part of what we do. So anyway, I hadn't pointed that out before. I wanted to point it out. I guess since I'm talking about a sword, I'm also making a pun because I'm pointing out that there's a new sword. But anyway, it's very nice. It's very sweet. So there you go. I think we'll get right to it then. I don't really have anything else. We seem to be at this point, on the other side of the Omicron surge. So yay. I guess we'll see what, if anything, is next. So, I'm getting up. I'm walking away. I should do this. Oops. Let's do that so the shirt doesn't come up. This is a new shirt, also given to me by a student for the beginning of the year of the tiger. So nice. I love the abstractness of the tigers and the coloration and everything. So anyway, there you go. A little shake. So the reason that we do advance and retreat, now there are a lot of benefits to advance and retreat from the 9 temple exercises. It helps benefit the functionality of your kidneys, your liver, your spleen, pancreas, gallbladder, and both the ascending and descending colons, as well as the transverse colon. So lots of different colons there. Also works the abdominals, legs, ankles, activates the Xia Dantian and the Shen Yu, so the lower field of elixir, and the essence door or essence gate. I'm still shaking. But the reason that we do advance and retreat whenever we do an animal frolic is the movement of the frolics tend to put one foot at a 45, and then we turn the upper body to the opposite 45. So the feet are really in a 90-degree angle here. And if you're not aware of that separation between the upper body and the lower body, and you turn the hip, see what's happening to that back knee? It's folding in. I don't want to do that a fourth time as the demonstration goes, because I could end up injuring my knee. So it's very important to keep the knee pointed the same direction as the toes. And that's one of the things that is, on our list of benefits to doing advance and retreat. So I like letting my arms hang in this exercise. Some people like to put them, belly back, let them hang. Some folks will even do some sort of movement as they're doing advance and retreat. We don't do that. We just do the hanging arms. The world won't explode if you do something different. We always start with retreat. We also point out that one of the deeper aspects of this exercise is to explore how parts of you are advancing even as you are doing what most people would call the retreat portion of the exercise, and that parts of you are retreating when you're doing what most people would call the advance part of the exercise. So advance and retreat isn't necessarily two separate directions. There are two things that come together relating to six directional force. So, anywho, I'm going to start with retreat. I'm going to settle my weight. I'm going into my left foot. Left is on the side of the exercise bike. I'm going to turn. Now when I turn, I got to finish my minute. I shouldn't be doing this. Still sucking on a minute. When we turn, we start turning the lower torso until that point where I can feel having an impact on my knees, because my hips are turning. So I turn there, then I move up to sort of mid-torso, and I see where my range of motion is there. I was like, okay. So I move up into the upper spine, chest and back, and turn there. And probably will not get shoulders square. I don't, other people might. So then I turn my head and my neck. So I am looking to the left where my weight is. To retreat, I'm going to push off on the left to fill the right while still looking to the left. And then I'm going to hold the weight in the right foot. Again, toes and knees forward throughout. And I'm going to turn and look to the right. So there is the right side of things. Push off on the right foot to fill the left. And turn. Push off on the left foot to fill the right. And turn. Push off on the right to fill the left. And turn. So the image would be something's coming toward me. Something is expanding. I am compressing. I am retreating. I am giving that space for that expansion. It is becoming, there's yang energy expanding toward me. I'm becoming yin to accept it. Turn, and then the expansion happens on the other side. And turn. And if you want a breath pattern, shift and turn. Two separate movements. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. I'm not shifting and turning at the same time. Shift and turn. Getting back to the breath, I might suggest an inhalation on the retreat and an exhalation on the turn. An inhale on the retreat, an exhalation on the return. But breathe when you have to. Some people might reverse that, and they have their reasons for doing it their way, and we have our reasons for doing it our way. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. Now I'm not counting, I'm just going for a while, but I think this will be, I'm going to do one more pair after this. And back and hold. So now once again, weight is in the left foot. Right foot is really pretty much empty from our standpoint. So left foot, next to the exercise bike. To advance, I'm going to push off on the left foot again to fill the right, but I'm going to be looking in the direction I'm moving. So maybe in this position, there's a different flexibility in the spine, so maybe you're closer to being shoulders squared in opposition to hips that are pretty much side to side. So now that energy is becoming yin. There's space. I'm going to become yang to fill it. Shift. I'm going to hold the weight on the right as I turn and look to the left. Knees and toes stay facing forward. Shift and turn. So you have the image expanding, becoming yang to something else's yin. Shift and turn. And I might reverse the breath pattern here and now exhale on the shift and inhale on the turn. And like retreat, the shift and the turn, the shift and the turn are two separate moments. You know, I think about 6 more pairs and it'll be somewhat balanced. That sort of just feels right. So after this one, there's 6 and 6. There's 5 and 5. There's 4 and 4. There's 3 and 3. There's 2 and 2. There's 1 and 1. After that last advance, turn to the front, redivide the weight equally between the 2 feet, and there's your advance and retreat. So, obviously the Tiger Frolic's a favorite for Water Tiger School. Each of the 5 animals, crane, monkey, tiger, bear, I must be thirsty, bear, and deer, I think that was it, I was combining bear and deer, are the 5 animals in our approach to the frolics. There are lots of different approaches. As we mentioned, I think every time that we shoot one of these with the animal frolics, you know, we've seen snake, serpent, dragon, leopard, I'm trying to think of what else. I don't think for the 5 animal frolics I've ever seen a mantis. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And some of them are very stationary. It might be a step out and a step back in and a step out, or it might not even be that. It might even look something like advance and retreat with just a shift one direction and a shift another direction, becoming the various animals. Each of the 5 animals have 5 frolics. There's also what is referred to in the original interpretation of this approach to the 5 animal frolics was a basic animal walk, but we kind of turn up the volume on our basic animal walk and make it a little bit more complicated than that. But anyway, each of the 5 animals have their own therapeutic quality, and the Tiger Frolics are known to help with pulmonary issues, so issues of breathing, of breath, of lungs, and also can help with various issues with arthritis. Now, I believe and hold that all of the animal frolics address arthritis in different ways. But the tiger is one that it's actually listed as one of the therapeutic qualities. Each of the animals, as you're playing the frolics, you have to embrace the nature and the spirit of the animal. For the tiger, it's its great power and strength as its nature, and its spirit is a fierce intensity that surrounds a certain inner softness. So I always talk about mother tiger and her cubs, and in some instances a father tiger and their cubs. and that relationship. So anyway, that sort of gets us to the inner softness. And that's the nature, great power and strength, it's spirit, fierce intensity, surrounding a certain inner softness. Each of the animals have their own sort of movement focus. And for the tiger, it is focus on the extremities, but without tension. And all the movements sort of feel like a feline stretch. So even more so than the other four frolics of the tiger, tiger stretching really gets to that point. Each of the animals have their own breath focus, though a lot of the different animals have parallel to same breath. And yes, you might hear a little domestic tiger somewhere in the background. I'm not sure where she is and why she's talking, but she's talking. But anyway, the breath, we have a couple of different approaches to the breath. When I first learned this, the inhale was a soft inhalation, sort of a yin style inhale in through the nose. So just, kind of a quiet, just an inhale in through the nose. Can't really hear it because it's soft. We've since run into another version based on this lineage that is a harder, more forceful, more Jung style inhalation in through the teeth. So, of course, the lips are open and in through the teeth. The exhale, I have always described as sort of a librarian with an attitude. So it's a little combination of shh and shh. So the inhale softer, hard, hold, hold. Inhale, hold. Hold. Inhale, hold. Exhale, hold. There's holds in both the movement and the breath. That leaves us with the chi focus. Each animal has its own chi focus. For the tiger, it's twofold, and for a lot of the animals, it might be twofold. The first is just focusing the mind on the Ming Men, which is the gate of life. Different people will place it in different points. We agree with those who say it's on an equivalent position on the spine to where the Xia Dan Xian acupuncture point is in front. So wherever you place your Ming Men, that's where the focus is. But there's a secondary focus that is active, and that's on the inhale. Or you imagine, visualize, feel a soft emanation of qi from the Xia Dan Xian, sort of like a glow. And then on the exhale, that drives to the extremities, so to the four paws, as it were. And that's really it. The last aspect that we need to keep in mind with the tiger is sort of instructional in nature, sort of, and kind of esoteric. All of these points, even talking about chi circulation, even talking about the nature and spirit of the tiger, are considered the external components of the animal frolics. So sort of the technical side of it, and that's the Buddhist aspect, according to this approach to the animal frolics. The Taoist approach is to actually become the animal. So it's not, if you've ever been in an acting class and they talked about the Stanislavski technique, it was what would I do if I were the character in these given circumstances. So it's not that. It's not what would I do if I were a tiger. You are a tiger. That's it. No arguments. So the more you study cats, again, if you have your own little housebroken tigers, meaning domesticated cats, no more wild pets. No one should have a tiger, an actual tiger, as a pet, or any other wild breed of cat for that matter. Jump off my little soapbox. Watch them and how they move. And in a lot of instances, the more you get in touch with, your inner tiger, the more people will see the tiger, mostly through your eyes. The last thing that I need to mention, I am going to get a drink of tea. That's not the last thing I need to mention. I just wanted a drink of tea. Are the paws in the upper body. And, you might think, I'm doing the tiger, these are what my claws need to be. And it's not. It's more subtle. So hopefully you can still see sort of the claw-like aspect. Again, if you own a domesticated cat, if you have your own little furry, and they still have their claws, hopefully no one declaws anymore. Get off another soapbox. And you piss them off a little bit, and they're right there, and they just, their paw right on your face, and they just activate their toes just enough to just put the tips of their claws just on the surface of your flesh without digging in at all. That's sort of what the tiger claw should be in this approach to the frolics. Now, I mentioned 45 to 45. So the fundamental movement, I'm going to start on the right foot, my right orientation, matching that toe, and I'm going to turn to set the foot down. Now, in tiger stretching, there's a lot going on in the upper body and that sort of thing. And a lot of other frolics, we switch to the heel when we take the step. But here we actually press the heel down. And then when we release the stretch, we swing through to the other side and press the heel down. So again, my steps are 45 to 45. And as I said, there's a hold in the movement. So when you turn, ball of the foot's on the earth, crown point of the head, base of the pelvic bone, more or less the ball of the back foot. Then press the heel down. Feel the viscosity of the air. As you press that heel down, feel the legs stretch as you press that heel down. And release and swing. Boom. Now I'm going to take one more step. I'm going to press that heel down. And I haven't, obviously I haven't shown you what to do with the upper body yet. But from that last stretch, you feel that foot, the hands are going to quit doing what they were doing, go palm up. I'm going to step back so I'm not the headless Qigong instructor. So you take that last step, do the upper body movement, bring that foot in, palms up, palms down. Again, if you know water tiger, then you know pour chi through the bok way from our breathing set, and it's sort of the same movement. And you're turning from your last 45 to the direction you've been walking. We always instruct these in a linear fashion because it's easier to follow the movement that way. This approach to the frolics actually does a circle walk. We're actually, in the studio, we're just moving into the Five Frolics of the Tiger, starting last week. And it'll all be linear until we get through the deep drill into the through the Five Frolics. And then those that can, we still have split in-person and remote, we'll be doing a circle walk in the studio. We usually use little plush animals to mark sort of the border of the circle in a few spots. So we don't end up with squares and things like that. So anyway, the upper body, sort of complicated, but it's sort of complications in complicated, sort of wrapped in simplicity. As you step, notice that the arms are drawn in. Not tight, not driving the sides of the arms into my lats. I'm open chested here. And anywhere, depending upon your range of motion, from palms facing palms to a degree of upness. I like having, if I have more of a degree of upness, then as I actually do the stretch, you get that nice twisting motion in the upper body. And notice the shape. And as I release, move to the next 45. This is on the inhale. That's on the exhale. Again, feeling that it's almost a C shape in that stretch. So there you go. Gonna get another drink of tea. So, do a pass, maybe a couple different ways, and call it a video. Think of doing something. We haven't put it in the queue yet, but thinking about doing something with meditation is a little bit different for the next video. So we'll see. It might be that. It might be something Tai Chi oriented. So we'll see. That's about ohms. It's vocalizing for your meditation, by the way. So take a moment, a little shake, no expectation. Start to get in touch with your inner tiger. Bounce the weight into the left foot, the weight into that right. Do your prep. There's your inhale. Feel the stretch. Hold. Release and swing through. Hold. Release, inhale. There was the Gung inhalation. Bring the back foot in. Turn in the direction you've been walking, palms up, palms down, and rebound. So there's a pass with tiger stretching. I'm going to do a left to right linear walk, just so you get a little bit different view. Get the feet in there. See what we got. You really want to be careful. This is a little late to the game, but you really want to be careful with that no tension thing. Right? There's a tendency here to like almost make this isometric, like you're pressing against something. And it's not that. I'm stretching. Right? And if you've done yoga, right, you know maybe cat, cow, cat. And that's that feeling in that moment. Just standing. Just standing. Sorry. Not supposed to use the J word. Don't use the J word, just. We don't use the S word, simply. It's hardly ever just simply one thing. So again, bounce the weight into the left foot to start. Get that right foot out to the 45. I'm going to do the soft inhalation again. I like that version. Feel the stretch. One last one with the Gung inhalation. And of course, throughout this, becoming the tiger, embracing the nature and the spirit of the tiger, great power and strength, fierce intensity, surrounding that inner softness. The inhalations and exhalations, probably pretty obvious, focusing on the extremities, sinking down, pressing the heel down, extending and stretching the arms, the back, the torso. A feline stretch, not forced, no tension. Soft emanation of qi from the Xia Dan Tian on the inhalation. Driving to the extremities on the exhalation. And focusing as well on the Mingmen point. Last one for the day. Actually, going to bring that foot back this time, so I'm not quite headless, just half headless. And there you go. Tiger stretching from the Five Animal Frolics, from the Five Frolics of the tiger. We still have a lot of the frolics left. For the tiger, it's tiger twisting, which is another movement that is, sort of complicated for the tiger, especially with the breath. We've only done a couple of the bear, I think. Maybe only one of the bear for that matter. I think we've done a couple of the deer. We only have one left of the crane. Not sure where we are on the monkey. A lot of moving Qigong left in this series. So there you go. As always, I hope you found that enjoyable. I hope you got something from it. Hope it was informative and maybe mildly entertaining, especially when I trip over my words. As always, the YouTube channel, we preview comments because you can click on, you probably know, when you load a video, it's like, screen out inappropriate comments. Yeah, the algorithms still miss, like, click here for hot dates kind of stuff. Don't need to see that. So we preview everything. And as long as, if you disagree with what we do, what we say here, that sort of thing, do it respectfully. Criticize us, it'll go through. Disrespectful comments, not so much. And we also post a link to our YouTube channel posts on our Facebook page, which of course is open to the public, but sort of the same thing there. There you go. So, still just FYI, here being the second week of February, moving into the second full week of February of 2022. And most places are still pretty hot. So, strongly recommend masking up, maintaining physical distance, and just, it's wet out there. Be careful. So, thanks everyone. Take care. And again, probably a couple of weeks. And it seems to be, every 2 to 3 weeks is where we're at with these new sessions. As I mentioned, it's not officially in our queue, but I've been thinking about adding a little Om meditation. It's just another way to approach meditation, and meditation with sound and the vibration. And there's a lot to the Om and the vibration that it creates. But basically, it works to distract the mind. The vibration takes you out of thinking about your day, and it's a neat little process. So that might be where we go. Again, can't say for sure, but probably be a couple of weeks. And I'm going to shut up before I just keep yammering on here. Thanks for your time and attention, and take care and be safe.